Okay. Yes, I've been out for a little while. I've been busy. There hasn't been that much to talk about. I could have talked about baseball and some minor off-season stuff, but it's not my thing. So I decided to get out of it for a little while. So I did miss some things I could have talked about that I've probably forgotten by now. And yes, I did get a haircut. Yes, it does make me look a lot younger. Yes, it's kind of weird, kind of different, but um, I like it. Easy to take care of. Not falling in my face when I'm at work or playing games or whatever. So, football's back. I was gonna make a video before and after the Hall of Fame game, but didn't happen. So here I am now. And the big story of the off season right now, or as we now get into the season itself, is Brett Favre gets traded to the New York Jets. Um, I still want to wake up from this whole thing because I didn't talk about this whole Brett Favre saga at all in my previous videos, I don't think. So I want to wake up from this or I want this to be like a big episode of Punk'd and Ashton Kutcher's just going to jump out of nowhere and tell us all we've been punked and Brett Favre's just going to go retire because I don't want to see him in another uniform, not now. Like when Jordan went to the Wizards or when Montana went to the Chiefs, or when Smith went to the Cardinals, Emmett Smith. It's the same thing. I mean, these guys, they got so famous and did so much and were so great with one team, and then at the end, they just aren't ready to hang it up yet. They go on, they try and move on, and I don't like it. It it would just seem more to Favre's legacy, more in his favor. And even though he wasn't a Packer his whole career, he did spend a year or two with Atlanta. But I really wish he would have just retired a Packer. But it it happened. So what happened happened. He's a Jet now, and they got a good team there. I really like everything New York did this offseason. I mean, I didn't like every single move they made, but I did like, as a whole, Alan Faneca, Vernon Golston, Tony Richardson, all those new guys they brought in. There were a ton more that I didn't even mention. I like it. I like it. So I think that team is looking at a wild card berth. Should be looking at the playoffs. You can't presume that they're going to win their division, but looking around the AFC at wild cards, you got either the Browns or the Steelers, whoever doesn't win the division. You have all three teams in the AFC South, and then you have the Bills and the Jets. Two of those six teams, well, two of those seven teams, rather, will be making the wild card, and one of those teams, either the Steelers or the Browns, will be winning their division in all likelihood. And, they got good weapons in New York. They built a pretty good team, so I like the trade from New York's perspective in the short term, and I'll give credit to Green Bay for getting what will probably be a third or second round draft pick out of a player that they did not want, that they did not feel they needed. And to rid themselves of that headache, they even got themselves what I'm guessing will be a second round pick. It may be a third round pick, but either way, nicely played. Nicely played. This whole thing was such a circus, though. It was kind of depressing to me, but what's done is done. And if Favre doesn't want to stop playing yet, who are we to tell him not to, I guess? Carried it on way too long, immaturely, on both sides. Both sides were just immature about it, so. But here we are. And I wish Brett and the Jets the best of luck this season. As for the other things going around in the NFL and other sports recently, I'm not going to go into that because there's a lot of stuff, and I just couldn't get into it properly, probably, in the 10 minutes I have on these videos. But now that the season has started, the Hall of Fame game, I wanted to make a dedicated video to that. Always fun to watch the inductions Always fun to see these old great players and some even recent ones come in. A lot of fun. As for the game itself, for the Colts, you didn't have Peyton Manning, you didn't have Dwight Freeney, you didn't have Bob Sanders, you didn't have Marvin Harrison, and you didn't have some of the offensive lines, so there isn't a lot to watch. But a lot of these guys are still going to be on the team, and if they're on the team, that means they might get on the field. So, guys on the Indianapolis side I was watching included Roy Hall, who made a couple of catches, I think like 4. Missed a couple opportunities to make plays, made some plays. Really, there were a couple of Indianapolis receivers further down the depth chart with Roy Hall who were more impressive. Like there was the Robinson. I can't remember his first name. Robinson something Robinson, but he looked good. There was that Colt receiver who caught the touchdown from Quinn Gray, the one who caught the Hail Mary from Quinn Gray. So that, Roy Hall still looks good, and I still believe he's going to be a great player in this league. A low draft pick from Ohio State. Hopefully he can make the team. And there was also a Mike Hart. I wanted to watch Mike Hart, and he played very well. He caught a couple passes, ran the ball 4 times, and was productive. I hope he makes this team because I think he's ready to be a big-time player in the NFL in spite of his size. Okay, maybe he's not ready to be a big-time player, but he can play in a backup role to spell backs. He's small, but he's got the vision needed to play at a competitive level in this league. So hope that works out for him. For the Redskins side, I wanted to see Campbell, who did play very well in limited time, very, very limited time. But he played well. But I guess the star of the Redskins ended up being Colt Brennan. And, he played a fantastic game, obviously. I think it was 9 of 10 with 2 touchdowns. Probably his stats are a little better than his actual performance, but you got to give it up to him because of everything he's put up with to this point in his football career and all the things that have been said about him and the way he ended his college career against Georgia. So I don't think he has an NFL future, but he looked good in his first NFL action, even if it is just the preseason. And Chris Horton, I believe a safety / linebacker for the Redskins, covered that onside kick, had a couple of sacks on the blitzes. He looked good. He reminds me of he looked a little like Troy Polamalu out there at times. He was, all over the place. He was coming up behind the quarterbacks and just pounding them into the ground. Excellent game by him. And it was a good game. As I did expect, the Redskins won. They were playing for a couple of Hall of Famers. The Colts had more players out, although the Redskins had their fair share of injuries and issues as well, with players like Jason Taylor, who they just traded for. And again, I'm not going to get into that right now. And as for today's games, there were 5. I didn't get to watch any except for a few minutes of the Saints and Cardinals at the end. But stories of the day: David Clowney for the Jets, another great young weapon for Favre. He's got Coles, he's got Cotchery, he's got Clowney, he's got Keller, he's got Bubba Franks, his old short touchdown buddy in Green Bay. I think things are going to work out pretty well in New York, all things considered there. I can't wait to watch this quarterback battle between Brady Quinn and Derek Anderson in Cleveland. I'm hoping Quinn wins, but more realistically, Anderson will win. I don't believe in Anderson, but I do like Quinn. Let's see. The Giants and Lions. The first drive by the Lions really impressed me. I watched it on highlights. Calvin Johnson getting into the act. Kitna showing some mobility on that one play to Calvin Johnson on the big third down. Roy Williams with a touchdown. So I think that offense, even though it will probably only hold together for this one season, could be good this year if they know how to use it right. Let's see, you also had Robert Meacham, first-round pick a couple years ago. Didn't do anything last year, played very well in this game. Broke tackles, has good speed. Liked what I saw out of him. Dwight Lowry for the Jets, going back to the Jets. Another guy who had a great game with the punt return and the interception return. I think he's got a good future in the NFL. And there were some other things that happened. But I'll end it right there. I'll be making more videos soon. See you later.